Positioning is one of the most important things to keep track of in Marvel Rivals. It is also one of the hardest things to keep track of. No matter what role you're on, having good positioning is going to win you a lot more games, especially if you're in ranked. Having bad positioning in ranked is like wearing Vlone in 2025. It's just not going to work out the way you think it's going to work out. You guys have no idea how long I've been waiting to use that analogy. So today, for everybody that ends ranked games with more deaths than the rest of your team, I'm going to teach you guys how to better your positioning. I recently reached Eternity, which puts me at like top 50 for the... Why am I not top 50? Okay, pretend that says 50. I'm currently top 50, so the advice I give in this video is valid for anyone concerned. Doesn't matter what role you play, whether it's Vanguard, Duelist, or Strategist, I'm going over everything today, and I'm going to try to do it as quick as I possibly can, just to not talk for too long. If anything I say today ends up helping you, you have to subscribe, and that's a deal. I'll know if you're lying. Also, if you enjoy the tips I give in this video, make sure you join our Discord. The Enrollverse has a bunch of tips for you guys to take advantage of if you want to climb and reach your maximum potential in Marvel Rivals. You guys ready? Let's get into it. Now, if we switch over to my perspective, you can see me holding the main choke of this first point on Central Park. Choke points are spots where you and the enemy team are going to hold each other, and there's not going to be a lot of movement until somebody gets a pick. As a Vanguard, you are the one that needs to be the most aware of the space at a choke point. If you allow things like this Wolverine to cross the choke point and kind of disrupt your team, it could be bad. Now right here, I'm just kind of dueling the Emma, making sure she doesn't cross, but the Wolverine cross, and my Mag and my Magic are super aware, and they're able to, scare them off eventually. Now, how I love to think about space given up and taken in a match is by drawing an imaginary line kind of on the floor where I'm holding. So in this situation, to show you guys, the line would be right here underneath the bridge, right? Kind of signifying where the choke point is. As a Vanguard, you want to be super aware of where this line is and where the people on your team are playing in comparison to this line. As a strategist, you want to stay far behind this line because behind the line is where the least amount of pressure is going to be. As you can see, my Rocket and my Loki are completely chilling because we have a lot of people playing super close to the line right now. The only people that are going to be crossing this line consistently are the Duelists because they're the ones that need to look for picks. Now, I have two Dive Duelists, which on defense is kind of weird to play around because they don't really have to be on that side, but in order to stall the team, they need to get picks. As you can see, my Magic is going for this hella pick in order to disrupt the enemy team, so that way there's less pressure on the front line. And my Magic gets the pick. Now her job is to return to the other side of the line, and my BB gets another pick. Oh my god, my team is snapping right now. But only now that picks have been gotten will me as a Vanguard cross the line and absolutely chase this Emma up a tree. So right now, as the enemy team uses a support ult, a lot of things are going to change. We're going to kind of open up the choke to give them room to maybe push in and make a mistake, but you never want to keep the same formation when an enemy uses a super aggressive ult like Amplifier. Magic and Wolf are crossing the line right now, so we're backing up to give them a little bit of space and try to get a punish off. Now that my Rocket has Amplifier down, it triggers another support ult. Now things are going to get a little bit weird because when there are two support ults down, a lot of space kind of becomes irrelevant. So you kind of just want to adjust and kind of draw the line a little bit further back to give up a little bit of space so your entire team doesn't end up cooked. So as you can see, the supports collectively kind of back up more, and their supports move forward. However, the Duelists are going to be kind of unconcerned where the line is and just generally just look for more picks. They managed to completely flush out the Hela, which is perfect, and that's when I start moving up again. Grabbing the Emma and keeping her from going to her team gets me another pick on Wolf. Here's the Emma isolated, so that's a free pick, and my team kind of just cleans up from here. But going back for a second, I want to give you guys your first major note. Support ults change positioning a lot. As you can see, there's like a general flow of motion as a team fight proceeds, and what changes it the most is a support ult. So as Cloak and Dagger ults the point, you can see everything kind of moves towards the back of point. Magic and BP don't really have to move with everybody else, but as a Vanguard, you kind of have to give up a little bit of space so you don't risk dying, because if your Vanguard dies, the line kind of becomes completely irrelevant. the enemy team can take up as much space as they want. And as a support, you really just want to play as far back as you can while still supporting your team. The less pressure on you, the easier your job as a healer becomes, and when you have good DPS like my BP and my Magic, it's a lot easier to do your job. Okay, now before I move on to the next thing, I'm going to quickly summarize everything I just said for each role. So if you're on Vanguard, you want to be super aware of where the choke point your team is holding is, and you want to be super smart about whether you give up or take space based on the ultimates used in the game and the interactions between your team and the enemy team. As a Vanguard, if you just give up space for no reason or try to take space off of nothing, the enemy team is going to punish you for overextending or get a free walk onto your supports. If you're on Duelist, your main job is to put pressure on the enemy team by constantly putting damage out, whether that's by crossing the line or sitting behind it and spamming the choke. And if you're on Strategist, stay as far away from the choke as possible unless your team moves up to take space. That way, the enemy team has a lot harder of a job getting to you, and it'll be a lot harder for them to get back to their team if you're playing further back. What I'm going to go over now is an example of me having bad positioning. And I was actually on support this game, so it's kind of interesting. This role is not the most hard to have good positioning on, but messing up is going to cost your team a lot because supports are so valuable. On a map like this, positioning is generally easier to get right because there's a natural flow to how the map is set up. The choke point starts over here, and as the enemy team walks up and takes space, your team, if you're defending, is forced to kind of back up onto point and either go underneath this payload or underneath the bridge if the enemy team gets full control of the point. Right now, I'm playing on the backside of point because the enemy team has walked up past the initial choke, which is over there, and the mistake I'm making right now, the first mistake I'm making, is I'm playing in the entire team's LOS. I'm pretty sure all 6 people on the enemy team can see me right now, which as a strategist is very bad. I should be playing more over here because I can still see pretty much all of my teammates. BP doesn't really need maintenance like that. I can see all of my teammates, and right here, only Wolf, if he turns around, can see me, but both of our supports are set up kind of in an awkward spot to where we won't have any place to run away except for underneath here. So this being a top 500 lobby, obviously the tanks notice both supports out of position and they immediately move to cut off my rotate. So now the option to go underneath the bridge is completely gone. The next best thing for me to do would be to go underneath here under the payload and just play my life and hope that Rocket can keep me up. But instead, I back up towards the wall and then try jumping back towards this little underneath bridge area, which was just not the play. But from my perspective, the decision was a lot harder to make because my health just like disappeared, like I just got insta-killed. My team managed to get some trades off, like they managed to get the Thor. Off the trades that they got, they managed to take back all the space, and now they're back to holding the initial choke. Moving on to the second mistake I make on this map. As the enemy team starts to walk up and take space, you can see me and Rocket kind of gravitate towards this corner, which is not a good spot to be in. Now, right now, I actually can't see a single thing into this ult, but I do see my group critical, so I keep trying to heal him. But as you can hear from the Fantastic ult, I put myself in a corner and the enemy team instantly notices that this is their time to get a pick. So I get instantly jumped on by Fantastic and Emma for playing in this corner. Now, what I should have done here is the moment this support ult gets popped, start to gravitate towards the underneath the bridge area. If I kept going this way, I couldn't have kept my Groot up, but I would have played my own life, which would have been slightly better than losing a Groot and a support here. So overall, just could have been played better. Now, the last game I want to go over is a game of me on Magic, because even though, you know, I'm absolutely filthy, disgusting, amazing, the best ever at Magic, I still mess up my positioning sometimes. My team uses a support ult, and you know, we're kind of just holding point right now. Everybody's up except for my Star-Lord. I get a kill onto their Magic, and as you can see, I make a play here that's, you know, it's not the worst in the world, but it kind of costs me a lot. So I start playing up front with my Emma to, you know, push the other team back since we have a support ult on point. And in response, the enemy team puts up an amplifier. Now here, most of my team is playing on the back half of point, right? My Rocket's actively getting dove. I have the option to peel here. I have the option to keep playing with my Emma. And as you can see, my Emma starts to back up, right? They're like, oh yeah, they put a support ult down, time to respect it. I was talking about it earlier. When the enemy team uses a support ult, you kind of have to be smart as to whether you give up space or you try to hold where you're holding at. And here, I went for the amplifier, even though absolutely nobody else has the ability to shoot it. Like, the two people that were on the backside of point are already getting dove. My rocket is still getting harassed by this Spider-Man. Bro is not giving up, and I start to walk up really far, even past their Emma. Now, as you can see, their Emma notices this, pops diamond, grabs me, and instant punishes me because I was just playing way too far up, as my entire team now is playing the back half of point. What I should have done there, instead of going for this amplifier, is just backed up with the rest of my team the second I saw that support ult. Right here, all I had to do instead of portaling towards the amplifier was portal back towards this area and maybe either help Rocket or, you know, help my mag and my cloak get this Venom off them and just let the other team have an amplifier. And since we popped the support ult back to hold, eventually we come back to point and are able to clear. But I'm the only one that died that team fight due to, you know, my positioning being bunions in that one instance, so perfecting stuff like that is just going to win you a lot more rounds. Okay, so to summarize this really quick positioning guide, when you guys are in game, if you're a person with bad positioning, I want you to actively be thinking about 3 things. 1, the invisible line that's always on the floor at every choke point. 2, the ultimates in the game and paying special attention to support ultimates because they're the ones that matter the most. They're the ones that are going to decide whether you should take up space, give up space, or play patiently for a little bit until, you know, a support ult finishes or whatever. And the last thing I want you guys to think about is your path to escape and the positioning of your other teammates. Knowing where the choke is important, but if your teammates are playing back and you're the only one playing forward on your team, whether you're Vanguard, Duelist, or Strategist, that's bad. You want to stay with your team because they're the ones that are going to help you the most through whatever you're going through, whether it's dive, whether it's brawling, whether it's, I don't even know, whatever else it is you could be going through. Okay. I'm sure everybody has picked up at least one thing from this video, so if you could do me a favor, like the video and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I appreciate you guys all so much. My Discord is going to be in the description, and yeah, I'll see you guys when I upload next. Peace out.